Welcome back to Nelco Comics Cover Story. I'm Clay, the Righteous Dude. This week we are fulfilling your bondage thoughts. People hear bondage cover, they think bondage, women, sex. Well, this cover, yes. Most comic book covers, quite honestly, are not that way. I mean, mainstream comics, the hero comics, it's usually not that. Conan, you'll see some, and I'll probably tell you that again during this. But this cover definitely is there for your enjoyment. Um, this is the Innovation Publishing's Lost in Space Annual #1 from 1992. The story is written by Miguel Ferrer. That's why his face is on the cover. We'll talk about that in a moment. The cover art is by Joe Jusko. Joe Jusko is, to my knowledge, still alive, born in 1959. He has done a lot. His first real work was he did a cover for a heavy metal magazine at age 18. 8 to my voice, 18. I don't know what's wrong with my voice today. Um, so his first real cover was at age 18. So he's been doing it his whole life. He's worked for just almost you name it. He's worked for them. He's worked for Marvel, DC, Crusade, Innovation, Harris, Wildstorm, Top Cow, and Byron Priest Visual. I don't even know who that is. Um, he's done a lot of cards, a lot of trading cards. He's done for Marvel Masterpieces, both in '92 and 2016. The Edgar Rice Burroughs cards in '95, Fleer Ultra, X-Men Wolverine cards in '96. He did Conan cards, Vampirella cards. Look him up on Wikipedia. You'll find all this list. You can also go to Joe Jusko, JoeJusko.com, and see a lot of his artwork, a lot of his paintings, a lot of really wonderful stuff. This cover is my favorite and not my favorite. My favorite for obvious reasons, but it's got one really glaring error to me. In my opinion, I'm not an artist. I could not do any of this, so I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just Miguel Ferrer, who wrote the comic, his head is here. It looks like a bad copy paste from Photoshop. It just doesn't look right. It looks like it's too close to the body, and the angle it looks weird. It's not particularly great. Um, Whoever had final approval uh, probably should have mentioned. Maybe they did. I don't know. Um, it's a great cover. It's a great piece of artwork overall. But and the face isn't wrong. It's immediately recognizable as Miguel Ferrer. It doesn't, the placement on the body is bad. That's just all there is to it. It's just bad. Now, I haven't read the issue. There may be something in the issue that covers this. I don't know. Again, we're not discussing the issue. We're just discussing the cover. Um, so that's really the only error I can find, other than maybe this thing right here. I don't know. Pardon me, but it's a low DPI image that I'm using here. This is a photo uh, of a comic we used to have in the store. I can't find it, so I don't know if we still have it. If we do, it's for sale, but it may have been sold already. Um, so this is a photo. This is not a scan. Before we had the scanner in here, I was using a photo booth. Uh, Before we had the scanner in here, I was using a photo booth, and it wasn't a great photo booth. I've improved it since then, and so it takes better pictures. But and I'm not a photographer, so this is not a good image. Also, this was part of another picture. My hand is right in your face. Part of another picture, and there was another comic book that was overlaid here, so I just blacked it out so it wouldn't be a problem. Here's a screenshot from the internet. It's not a great screenshot because the colors are almost too much. But you can see we're not missing anything in this corner. There's just some of her shoe and some detail on this wall. So we're not missing anything there. Um, so I don't know if we have this in the shop right now to purchase or not. I couldn't find our copy, so it may have sold and I wasn't aware of it. So, what's the action on this comic, on this cover? Well, the action right now is this person, presumably a bad guy, has two young women right where he wants them, literally and figuratively. And the robot over here can't help or can't do anything because he is disabled or damaged. So what may have happened or must have happened before is, well, he somehow managed to get these women in these chains, probably by sedating them, because there's no marks on their bodies yet. Remember, he has a whip. And afterward, other than the obvious uh, implications, he may be using this whip on them, and uh, we don't know for sure. And again, I haven't read the issues, so I don't know. So we're just looking at implied before and implied after action. Um, and these are just guesses. I have no clue what the issue says happened, if this scene is even in the issue. It probably is not, but it may be. One thing to note is that it appears as if Marta Kristen, who played Judy in the television show Lost in Space, licensed her image because this looks like her face. But it looks like Angela Cartwright, who played Penny, the younger sister in the TV show, did not, because this does not look like Penny's face. We know it's Penny because A, she's the sister, so they're always together, and B, she has the dark hair, and Judy had blonde hair. So we're assuming that this is Penny and Judy. We know this is Judy because it looks like her. We're assuming this is Penny, but it does not look like Angela Cartwright at the time. So we don't know. Of course, since Miguel Freire wrote it, his image is authorized to be on the cover. But this is a cover where sex sells. That's just all there is to it. This is definitely a sexy bondage cover. You'll see that a lot, as I said before many times in the Conan covers. The women are always chained up and have almost nothing on, very much like these two. But this one's really, really in your face, and I'm not even going to point out why, because I don't want to get fired or in trouble with my wife. But if you can't see why this is really in your face, then you're not paying attention. And I'm not complaining. This is just an observation. This is not a complaint. But the detail on these bodies is detailed. I'm not going to go into details. You can look it up online if you want. You can see a better copy online than we have here and get some better look if you so desire. But this one goes the extra mile. This is a bondage cover, but we have studded black leather and a whip and chains. So this cover is really more than just bondage. There's other things that go with that. We won't go into too much detail, but this has got the studded black leather and whips and chains. And what's that old saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me. Not so much anymore. The older I get, the very much less that excites me. But this one had, and this is right out, like I said, in your face. He's got studded black leather. He's got a whip of some kind. I don't know. It looks like a riding crop down here on the end, but then a cat of three tails here on this end. But either way, details, and also dig these stiletto heels. You can't see hers, but you presume they're the same thing. I mean, he just went all out on this cover. By the way, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is just a table that's holding embers, or if it's actually an animal holding a table that holds embers. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, this one goes all out in sex sells. This is probably as close to adult as you're going to get on a cover, and actually the comic actually says not suitable for children. So I'm presuming the content of the issue was much more risque than even the cover is. I haven't read the issue. So again, we presume the robot's disabled, and so he's got this this flaming smoke here, and from the damaged dome, the cracked and broken dome, and his vocal lights. When the robot talked, the lights flashed, are on. Now, either he's in the middle of speaking or there's a short circuit from all this damage, and he's just on, and that's just all there is to it. We can see the robot's arm here. It's out and relaxed, so we're assuming the robot is disabled at this point. This is kind of a modified robot from the TV show, because the robot from the TV show did not have a gap between the legs, and this one has a very distinct gap, distinct legs, which did not exist in the TV show. So I don't know. Maybe there's some license. Maybe there's some changes in the storyline that happened. I don't know. But to the cover, the color use on this, regardless of the subject matter, the color use is great. We don't have just the regular primary red, green, and yellow. I mean, red, blue, and yellow. That's just all reds and blues and yellows, and that's what we have. This is not. This is hundreds of colors, if not hundreds, dozens of colors. We have the two-tone orange of the banner here, and it's the skull is very distinct. The reflections of the light are done very well. There's a sword. The chain links are very distinctly lit, and you can see the color through them. There's even blood on her arm from this manacle, from this thing holding on, manacle, right? Either way, this thing holding on to her. So the use of color for detail on her hair and everything, it's a little lacking in the dark hair in the background, but the farther something away is, the darker it is. So that could just be an aspect of him making it look farther away. But the space in the background, even this is very Star Trek-ish to me. The planet and the moon are very Star Trek-like. But we have the smoke here and the color, and you can even see things inside the dome. And the color use on the robot is really nice because it's all gradient. The silver gray is, you can see reflections. It's just a masterful use of color. This head just throws it for me. But it's a masterful use of color in this on this cover. So Joe is an absolute wonderful artist, Joe Jusko, and his use of color alone. If he drew stick figures and did color like this, it would be awesome, because he really has a command of color. This head just, I almost look at the head more than I do the women, almost, not quite. But it's just, the color use is great. The cloth that you can kind of see through, the tears, and you can see the shadows behind them. And like I said, and also it's a weird mix. The scene is a weird mix of medieval with brick and banners and chains, and technological with the robot and the spaceship. And I haven't read the story, so I don't know the context of the surroundings. But the just use of color and the artwork is phenomenal. You can absolutely tell that this is Judy Robinson. You can absolutely tell that that's her face. So he does the portrait really well. You can absolutely tell that this is Miguel Ferrer. There's no hiding that fact. So Joe's a wonderful artist. And I think we can forgive one little thing being off on this entire cover, because this cover, again, like the ones before, does what it's supposed to do. It catches your eye from across the store. Now, it does it with the composition and the colors, because we have the blue surrounding the red. You see the blue here, blue here, blue here, lighter blue here, even blue on the robot, surrounding the other colors, the green on the dress, the black, the orange. I said red earlier, but the orange. So there's composition here that draws your eye right to the middle, which is where the action is. And then also you see the women that get your attention from across the room. So this is a wonderful cover. It does what it's supposed to do. It gets you interested in the comic. It makes you want to buy the comic so you can see what's inside the comic, especially when it says not suitable for children, because then you really want to see what's inside the comic. If we have this in the store, this one was labeled at $24. Again, I don't know if it's been sold or if it's been repriced, because I don't know, because I know prices change. But if you're in San Antonio, come down to Nelco Comics, 1134 North Flores, just south of SAG, just north of 35. We're open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, and Sunday, noon to 6. This recording is Thursday, the 6th of June. Friday the 7th and Saturday the 8th, we have Marvel comic artist Billy Tan in the shop. I talk good, don't I? In the shop, doing autographs and maybe even doing some little free drawings, free sketches for people. Not free sketches. You spend enough money, $100 in the store, he'll do a free sketch. Other sketches may cost money, but if you're in San Antonio, you're a Billy Tan fan, come on down. Friday the 7th, right? Yes, Friday the 7th from 1 to 6. Saturday the 8th from 10 to noon, only 10 to noon. He's here for a very short time. If you're in San Antonio or can be in the area, I'm going to be posting this today, Thursday, at some point during the day, probably within an hour after I finish recording. So if you're in the area, come down to see Billy Tan. If you can't come down to see Billy Tan, come down when you can. We are San Antonio's best selection of old Silver Age comics. Maybe even San Antonio's largest collection. I'm really not sure, but maybe we've got a ton. I can't even shoot because I'm not going to turn the camera, but we've got thousands upon thousands of comics. So come on down. We'd love to have you come in, even if you don't want to buy anything. Come in, sit down. We talk about comics all day. Pick out your favorites. You can look at them. We can talk about them. If you want to buy them, take them home. But just come in. It's a good place to come sit and visit and do nothing but relax and talk about the things that we love, the artwork that we love, the artwork that we grew up with, the artwork we weren't allowed to have when we were growing up. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. I keep banging the table. Please like and subscribe so we can make more of these videos for you. Okay, bye-bye.